Okay. Well, first of all, probably just like everybody else on this whole project, it's just a love for music and from disco to rock and roll to the blues. I mean, that's sort of the environment in which I grew up in. I was actually born in Wisconsin and then raised in the Chicago area. So just a love of music, of all kind of music, and then listening to WBMX 102.7 FM and listening to WLUM out of Milwaukee. I was caught up like in the middle between Milwaukee and Chicago. So just enjoyed sort of those musical influences. And then I remember at the age of 3, just getting my first record player and playing records and loving 45. So the love of music has been, with me for many, many years. I would always DJ and taking my mama's equipment and my brother's equipment and running up and down the streets and doing parties. My mom and them saying, I can't understand, why you, doing all this stuff for this DJing, but it was just a love. Taking my little allowance money, buying 12 inches and all kind of records because of the love of the music. That finally parlayed into an opportunity at WGCI that it became a lifetime opportunity, and I started to spin on WGCI on a show called The Bomb with Ramonski Love. And while on the radio, one of the guys I always looked up to, Steve Silk Hurley, heard me and said, hey man, I like what you're doing. I'd like you to come be part of my camp and do some things. And as a result of that, with Steve Hurley, I did like my first really official remix, which was Tina Moore, Never Gonna Let You Go. And it was like a two-step, I guess what would be later called two-step or garage. But I remember being in like this meeting with me, Steve Maestro, M. Doc, and a bunch of other cats in there, and they all submitted their mixes. And we're listening to the mixes, and they all look at my mix, and they're like, "What? Where's your 4 on the floor? Where's the traditional Chicago 4 on the floor?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't feel that way. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to compete against the Steve Hurleys and all these other great minds that's in the room." So I just went into another direction, and by the grace of God, that ended up being a huge remix for me. And as a result, that sound helped sort of start a garage sound over in Europe. What I would say is that in just sort of my experience from being on radio, from programming B.E.T, I think that the world always respects the sort of out the box, out the norm. Things that all of a sudden end up becoming a brand. I go back to Hurley. Hurley had a brand, he had a sound. And that's why, he was, one of the top remixers of his time because he had a sound. Timberland had a sound. Jay-Z has a sound. They have certain brands. And remember, I always go use this example of Jay-Z. Jay-Z he never could get a record deal. He couldn't find a record deal. So he said, hell, I'm going to put this music out myself, and then created his brand. So I would encourage all kind of up and coming producers to continue to follow your heart and to follow sort of the spirit in which God put inside you, and use that to cultivate your sound. But don't be afraid to hear other people, but just realize that everybody's influenced from, I'm sure Steve had his influences. You listen to R. Kelly from Chicago, he had his influences of Isley Brothers and Marvin Gaye and Sam Cooke, but he created his own sound as a result of those influences. So I would say continue to trailblaze and create your own sound, because nobody wants that sort of cookie cutter copycat thing. I had, it's funny, that song came about, the South Africa record came about as just a homage and a feeling that I had. My brother called me about a year and a half ago, and I said, hey man, what are you guys doing? What are we doing for Thanksgiving? Are y'all, you gonna go to mom's house, or we're gonna meet up somewhere? And he said, oh, I go to South Africa with the church. And just something hit me then. I was like, man, South Africa. He says, yeah, man, we got a whole package. The church goes every year. You should come. And I said, wow. I said, yeah, I need to do this. I need to really do this. And this song came about as a preparation for my trip, because I was so amped to go to South Africa. And I just started singing all the way to South Africa. Like I was like, this is gonna be my little theme song as I take this 18-hour plane ride from Atlanta, Georgia, to South Africa. And it was really just a fluke, and it was just something I was playing around with. It wasn't nothing real. It wasn't anything like, I didn't think it would ever become a real song. It was just like a little chant. And I started playing with it more. And then as I went to South Africa and saw like the different sites in Soweto Mountain, that's one of the things I say from Soweto to Table Mountain. Excuse me, Soweto Village to Table Mountain. Table Mountain is this large mountain in South Africa that basically encompasses almost the entire country. And you can see it. It's this flat mountain that surrounds South Africa, and it's so high in the air that the clouds sit on it like a tablecloth. So they call it Table Mountain. So I was just talking about things that I've seen, and I just felt like, I think everybody should make that journey to South Africa just to see, where, civilization started. And all those sort of mixed feelings and just being in that country and that was sort of my way to express it. And then one of my good friends who's also doing music with me, Jasmine Ray, was like, I really like that.
I know, Ray.
I love it. And okay, I said, well, you want to sing on it? Okay. I was a little embarrassed. I'm not a singer, so I was a little embarrassed on my singing, but people seem to like it. And I'm like, well, all right, well, cool. But I said, well, I at least got to have this female on here that can really blow. So, but it was interesting enough that I played the song for Indy Irie, and now she wants to get on it.
Wow.
So it's just, this is a true representation of when God works, in ways for you. Because that's all it was. It wasn't like I sat down and said, oh, I got to come up with some South Africa record. Let me see. It was just something that I felt, and I put it out there. I was a little apprehensive to give it to Silk. I was like, Silk, I got a couple of house records I've done, but I got this other record that I really like. Let me see how you feeling it. And he was like, let's roll with it. So I love to DJ. that's my thing. And I love producing, I love writing and being creative, but it's funny now that I'm got back into DJing even more seriously. It's like now I just been going around getting parties. Like, yo, y'all got a DJ for that? I do it. They were like, well, we ain't got no budget. I'm like, that's cool. I started off like, doing the free parties. That's how you sort of, pulling myself up by my bootstraps. But it's funny you say that because, I'm just really honored to be part of such a great project. I mean, a lot of these guys on this album are people that I looked up to, man, and musically and just in many ways, it just really influenced me. So it's really an honor just to be part of such a great, historical house event. And I say this, there's a book out there from Bruce Wilkinson. It's called The Prayer of Jabez. And the prayer of Jabez is in 4 parts. It says, God bless me, enlarge my territory, allow your hand to be with me, and keep me far from evil so that I experience no pain. What I did before even running into this book, I enlarged my territory because I was a top DJ on the radio. Everybody knew my name and all that. But I had to enlarge my territory because at the end of the day, I realized I was just going to be a local hero. And in order for me to sort of do more, and I just wanted more. I believe there was more out there for me. So I learned to enlarge my territory. So I encourage anybody from Chicago or from anywhere watching this DVD to enlarge your territory. Be willing to step outside of your safety. Whether it be trying to go to Indiana or New York or Ohio, just try stepping out of your familiar territory.
Try being a small fish in a big pond.
Right.
Even though you're already a big fish.
Yeah. Exactly, and I encourage a lot of cats to leave Chicago so that you can see what else is going on. You gotta see what's going on. I still rep Chicago on my back. You know what I mean? When I'm in New York, because that's I was out Friday night with Puffy at the Crowbar. He's a secret house fan. He loves house music. Right. And, you know, I'm like, yo, that's that Chicago stuff right there. And I still rep it. But I'm in New York. But it's about me expanding my territory. And I continue to do that even as I'm, you know, walk through my journey here at B.E.T. Expanding my territory. Trying something different. Experimenting. Getting out of Chicago. Like Chicago people always yell up and down, oh, man, and you know, can't nobody get nobody no break. Man, then if you can't get your break there, player, get up out of Chicago, move to New York, go to L.A., go somewhere. At least give it a shot. You got to expand your territory, and if you don't use that, if you don't have that sort of mentality, and it's hard for you to be successful.
I think most of the guys on this project have the mentality on an international basis. Like,
right.
Pretty much everybody on this project has had some kind of success overseas because they were smart enough to think, okay, yeah, I'm not scared to get on a plane and ride 12 hours to London,
and
18 hours.
And it's funny, I tell artists that today, like some of the artists that were may have had hits in the past and may not be as popular today. I'm like, dude, there's a whole universe out there for the internet. You know, simply because, you know, BET isn't filling your video, there's the internet out there. There's, you know, I'm sure you have a fans and followings all over the world. I say you need to tap into that as opposed to thinking so local. It seems like the more sort of success I get in trying to buy new machines, I'm like, you know what? I need to go back to the basics, you know, where I remember having a conversation with Cashmere, and when I went over to his house and saw what he used to make Brighter Days and Percolator, I almost lost my mind. It's a little keyboard, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, yeah, dude, that's all I use. If you talk to Timberland, he uses, you know, just a little keyboard for that. You know, like, it's just amazing how you see how simple, you know, people still keep it to keep that creativity. Cool and Dre down in Miami, they still have this broken down MPC that they use. Now, these guys have done, you know, multi-platinum hits. They could buy 1 million MPCs, but they still use the one that they need like a little screwdriver to hold in place to make sure it stays on. Like, it's like sort of their signature. So,
like the Michael Jordan North Carolina shorts.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But I definitely, you know, just one thing I want to definitely put on here is just that I would just encourage people, even people who don't know about house music and understanding, like, house music to me originated out of soulfulness. And if you ever have the privilege to go to a true Chicago house party, it's almost like going to church on Sunday morning at a Baptist church. And it's a spirit. It's the only music that I've ever played, and I play all kind of music. That's one thing that Chicago will also teach you as a DJ, that you gotta know every genre of music, because if you don't, you ain't working much as a DJ. So, but that's one thing that I learned in all the music that I play, is that it's something about that, the spirit, the gospel of Chicago house music that's there. And if you ever have an opportunity to get to a true Chicago house party, you will have, like they have in church, the Holy Ghost. What's going on? It's your man Kelly G. You're watching me live here on the Chicago LP DVD. Chicago, baby. Chicago in them. Oh yeah.